What's up, guys? Welcome to our first real episode of Roughin It. My name is Zach.
And I'm Christina.
And today we're going to talk about a lot of the travel tips we've learned. Right now we're backpacking Europe. We mentioned that in our intro video, if you watched that. So we're spending 69 days total backpacking Europe. So today we're going to talk about kind of, what we've done, what we've learned, and a lot of just kind of the tips and things we've come across along the way.
Yeah, I think we should start off with saying that, like he said, we are backpacking Europe. The reason that we did decide to do it is because we both graduated from Florida State not too long ago, and before we went to grad school, we wanted to have some time to live life, actually see the world, experience some things before getting into the professional world. That's
we definitely felt like we were in the sweet spot, I feel like, of when is right to do it. We're young, we have the energy, and we don't have a huge burden of responsibility yet that life plops on you.
And I feel like a lot of people will say, I want to do it or I'm gonna do it, but then they never actually get around to doing it because they have always a reason why they can't, whether it's school or money or family or something like that. But we actually wanted to be the people that went out and did it instead of just saying that we wanted to do it, and now it just kind of made sense for both of us.
I think I was the one who said I wanted to do it, and you were the one who's all about action. So really, I think if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So
out of the two of us, I definitely grew up traveling quite a bit. You haven't really been out of the country.
No, I've been to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
So I've been out of the country.
My family's from Spain, so I grew up going to Europe a lot, and then I've been all over South America, everything like that. So that's why we initially wanted to come here, just to not get it out of the way, but we wanted to just do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so we're going 2 months, and what's our kind of travel route?
Yeah, so, we've been here 3 weeks now. It's today Friday, so tomorrow marks 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So we have just under 7 weeks left, and we are in our 7th city, I think now, 7th location, which is pretty crazy. We're staying, I think, a total of 1 to 3 full days in each place and then moving on. And I think that's been the way to do it, honestly. I feel like for the days we really go out and see the city, we really do kind of cover a good bit of ground. We're moving pretty quickly. And we started in Venice, and we just kind of decided to head north. So we went to Venice and then Lake Como. Highly recommend that. Not really talked about much, I think, by people who travel to Italy, but the locals told us about it. Super cool. And where do we go after that?
Well, our general plan was just start off in Venice, then go left, go up, but we didn't actually have a solid plan, so we kind of just wake up every day and choose where we want to go depending on how we feel. So we did first Venice, like you said, then Lake Como, then Bern, Switzerland, then we went to Interlaken because we wanted to do some skiing. And then we ended up going to Germany, so Frankfurt, and that's where we're at right now. And then after this, our plan is to go somewhere else in Germany and then up towards Amsterdam, Belgium, then UK, and then down to Spain.
Did you mention France there? That we went to France? I don't know if you did.
No.
We did go to France, 2 places.
I forgot France. We went to Paris and
Leon.
Wow.
And we really have winged it a lot because we were originally thinking to go from Venice to Bologna. I still don't think I'm pronouncing that right. And then Florence, didn't do either of those. Then to Milan, didn't do that either. Went to Lake Como instead. We never planned to go to Lyon, but we did that.
Yeah, we're just kind of just winging it depending on where the locals tell us to go, wherever the trains go. We did decide to travel with the Eurail. If you guys are going to Europe, you probably know about the Eurail, but it's basically like a train system that is connected through every single country in Europe, and it allows you to use a lot of the inner city trains and then the long distance trains. For example, getting from Venice to Switzerland, there's a set of 2 trains that you can take, and that was around $720 we each paid for that.
For 3 months of unlimited access,
travel, yes.
Which is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, you can go to 50 places, 20 places, 100 places, wherever you want to go, which I think has been a really good help.
Yeah, I think it only makes sense if you're going to multiple countries. Intra-country travel has been difficult, really hard to figure out, has caused a few arguments between us, but if you are planning to go to multiple countries, I think if more than 5 plus, it really is worth it. For example, before we were here, we were in Paris. We're in Frankfurt, Germany now. And a train ticket, if we just bought it from Frankfurt to Paris, was what, 350 euros?
Yeah.
So probably half of what we paid for 3 months of unlimited train use like that. So, the value is there if you're going to multiple countries. Here in Frankfurt, The intercity trains we do have also access to. They're tough to figure out though. Like from being from the United States, these trains are not easy to navigate. Like, in Italy we got lost a few times. I
also think it doesn't help that we're from Florida, because some places in the U.S. do have, like New York, we use the subway, but in Florida we don't ever use subways or trains or anything.
Yeah,
so.
We're not from big cities that use underground travel and are big on public transport.
Especially underground travel that has the name that is 20 letters long German word that you have no idea what it means. So it's been very confusing. We have gotten lost a few times, like he said, but it has been very helpful. I can't imagine having to pay for a ticket to get to every single country. I feel like that would just be so expensive.
Oh yeah. And also I think it is kind of a good time. We while we're here, COVID has kind of died down. Some countries are more strict than others. There definitely are a few restrictions. Like Italy probably was the most strict. Everywhere you went, you needed your vaccine card. You needed an N95 mask. Like anything less wouldn't cut it. You'd get kicked off.
They actually check the actual card. Here in Europe, they have a QR code whenever you get vaccinated, so they ask to see that. And since we are Americans, they don't give us the QR code, just the piece of paper, but that works just fine. But they do check it in every restaurant, like you said, the train stations, absolutely everywhere. You can't get away with not being vaccinated.
Switzerland is definitely by far the most chill with it. I don't think we had to wear a mask like anywhere. I don't think we were even asked about vaccination if we were. So definitely the most chill, but also the most expensive.
Yeah, Switzerland was like $20 minimum for any food.
For mediocre
and that
food.
means like a bagel. It was expensive.
And even staying, like the hostel we were in, it was a hostel, but I think we were paying $33 each a night, which is kind of outrageous because in Venice we paid $16 a night for the hostel.
We have been staying in hostels, and that is another thing that ranges from very, very good to very, very, very bad. We've stayed in some hostels where it's like the room is this small, you're sharing it with 10 people, there's no curtains, they don't give you towels, they don't give you bed sheets, they don't give you absolutely anything, the bathroom leaks all over the floor. It can be a disaster.
We were really spoiled because our first hostel ended up what we learned to be like the pinnacle of hostels. It's called A&O Hostels in Venice. If you ever go to Venice and you're planning to use a hostel, I highly recommend. We didn't realize how good we had it until we went to probably our next one. Luckily our next one we had no one else in the room, but if there were other people in the room, it would not have been very cool.
And even just after that, hostels are very much, you have to be aware if you're going to stay in hostels that you are not going to have any privacy. They're most likely going to be dirty, and you're going to need to bring your own stuff like towels, like bed sheets, which luckily we did buy beforehand,
and
microfiber
locks.
Towels, locks,
locks
all those things. You're going to have to bring yourself because they give you the bare minimum.
Yeah. And there's a whole plethora of stuff we've bought. We'll probably link that all down below because we've gotten a lot of value pretty much out of everything. The locks, I think, have been the biggest. I mean, to be able to lock our stuff up in the hostel.
And the towels, I think.
Yeah, those have been huge. Those have been definitely huge.
And hostels range from anywhere. We paid like $16 a night in Italy to, what was the most expensive? Like 30.
Switzerland.
Like 33. And I will say, if you look it up, it says that the average price of a hostel, because I did a lot of research before we came, can be anywhere from like $10 to $11, but don't go with that. That is not true. We have not seen a single hostel that is less than $16 a night, and even $16 a night was very, very, very cheap. So make sure you adjust your budget for that, because not everything that you see on the internet is going to be accurate.
Yeah, I think most countries on average we're seeing $20 to $22.
Yeah, like around $20 would be the average hostel price, and that doesn't include breakfast or anything. Okay, it's just the basic stay. That's it.
Some do, but they tend to suck. We have been so disappointed.
Yeah, the breakfast at a hostel, if you're curious, it's 3 pieces of ham, some bread, and some watered down yogurt.
And the ham has probably been out for days.
For like 2 weeks. It's like a 2-month-old ham.
Yeah, definitely just go buy breakfast. Don't rely on the hostel breakfast. But yeah, it's been interesting for sure.
And for finances, as far as that, I do have a video, I'll link it down below, on the finances that I did expect to spend. But basically you want to look at where you're staying, what you're eating, and travel, like anything like trains or planes that you need to pay. And that's kind of how I would look at the finances behind it. How much do you think that you've spent like per day?
Per day, I'm probably averaging between $75 to $100 a day. That's including stay.
And too. I just did mine, and it was like around like 50 to 60. But I also don't spend as much money on food. I'm a girl. I eat a lot less than him, so I think that. Like,
I think one hack, especially the room we're in now, has been really good evidence of this. Like what we've been doing is we'll pull on an internet browser. We'll pull up Hostel World, which is where you see all the hostels wherever you're looking. Airbnb and Hopper is what we use. And what you'll find is a lot of times, hostels won't be the cheapest option. Sometimes a private room in a hotel will be even cheaper. And to me, that's an obvious pick. You get your own bed, your own bathroom, and it's cheaper. Like, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, and also, like, we are dating, so I know you might think private room, you have to sleep with the person in the bed, but you don't actually have to. Every hotel that we've been in, the main double bed or king bed or whatever you call it is actually 2 single beds. For example, right here, it is just 2 single beds that you can easily just pull apart. And having someone to split the price with is invaluable because this place was, what, $40 a night?
Yeah, it's like 22 each.
But 22 each, and then there is 2 beds that if you would want with a friend, you could separate them, have your own space, and it's way less crowded than a hostel anyways, so.
Yeah, and like first perspective, the beds are super comfy, the bathroom is awesome,
they give you towels.
Is great. Yeah, that's huge.
Bed sheets.
And this is $11 cheaper than a hostel that has no privacy and a crappy breakfast in Switzerland. Not to trash talk Switzerland. Switzerland is probably one of my favorite stops so far, but just to give you an estimate of the price difference and like how lucky you can be when you just use all those platforms to find where to stay.
And something else that I also wanted to mention about hostels is a lot of people will say you're gonna meet really cool young backpackers whenever you do go to hostels. But from our experience,
it has not been the case.
It hasn't really been the case. So I did not know this, but something that I figured out while being here is that you can be any age and stay in most hostels, which means that there's a lot of people with children, a lot of older people, a lot of permanent residents that stay in hostels because they're so cheap. So it'll be like our first hostel, we had 2 50, 60-year-old men staying in our hostel that were permanent residents there. Italian and everything, but just decided to live there because it was cheaper. You don't have to pay electric, water, anything like that.
Yeah.
So don't expect that everybody is going to be young and cool.
Shout out to that heavyset Italian guy though, because he gave us the sheets. We didn't realize you could just get those downstairs. So I don't know your name. I don't remember asking for it. That was probably rude of me, but shout out to you. But yeah, definitely. It also is winter, so maybe if you were backpacking in the summer, it'd be a different experience. And it also has been COVID and then the whole war, so maybe it's just a little less packed because of that. That could definitely skew our results. We were definitely looking forward to meeting other people who are doing the same thing as us. I have an uncle who has done this for a year at a time, and he said some of his best friends he met in hostels and they just took the same route together because they were going a similar direction. And we have just not found that. Hopefully one day.
We'll find people to hang out with or talk to for a little short period of time, but no one that's currently staying in the same hostel as us or hotel or doing anything like that, which would have been really nice because I want to meet people and go out and have fun and everything like that, but it's hard to when they're not around,
Yeah, totally. Totally. And there definitely are, being here, a lot of things that are, I think, so different about Europe than the United States. Probably the one that's impacted me the most has probably been the siesta. And you probably
he hates it.
I hate it. It makes me starve, and I just don't like to starve. I get it, it probably benefits the people who are working. You get a little break midday, but I'm just hungry. I'm left hungry.
Yeah, I will say, coming from a child to Spain, I really, really enjoyed it. But when you are backpacking like this and constantly traveling and constantly hungry, it's not as convenient.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend, we have been so bad about this. We always talk about recommending it to people, but I don't think we've actually done this ourselves. We need to start, but be mindful of that midday, 2 to 4, 2 to 5-ish.
2 to 5:30,
Yeah, places close down. Try and eat before that because there's been so many times we just didn't think about it. We were hungry by real hungry by 2:30 and we just couldn't eat. And that kind of blows. I mean, it is what it is, but...
You get in a bad mood when you're hungry, especially
you two, both of us. It doesn't make a good situation that we're both hungry. But something we've done is we kind of have just some snacks. I do that a lot too. I think just to hold you over a little bit. But biggest thing probably is being mindful of when places will close because they will. And if you're it just helps a lot to make sure you're satisfied with what you eat.
That's like one of the culture shock things of an American coming to Europe. Something else I'd say is the water. You have to pay for water.
Yeah.
You've probably never experienced that other than here, right?
Never.
Yeah,
never,
and then they
no.
don't give you ice in the water either, which in America we always drink like cold water.
Yeah, that is kind of weird also.
They like room temperature water here for some reason, or like non-iced water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think those, you don't like them, but the collapsible water bottles that we have,
They'll be in the description down below.
Yeah,
so.
they have been, I think, super helpful because we just fill those up, attach them to our backpacks and go. And that just saves us, sometimes €5 at a restaurant.
We paid for a water bottle at a restaurant the other day that was €8.
And it wasn't even a fancy place. Outrageous.
It wasn't even that big either. It's crazy. And then we went to the grocery store here and bought one for $1, and it was like this big. So it's like.
Yeah. It's also crazy to me how many people here smoke cigarettes. Mm-hmm. How much of the norm that is. And it's like, it's wild because you know that people on average live longer here in Europe than they do. That's obviously multifactorial, but I would bet just watching the way they smoke cigarettes that I don't know, it's crazy to me. I mean, it's so different. People smoke cigarettes obviously in the United States, but not to the degree.
A lot of people smoke Juul or like vape.
Here in the United
States?
In
the United States.
Yeah.
Wait, so like I replaced everyone in the U.S. that's vapes or whatever, and replaced it with cigarettes, and that's kind of how it is.
Maybe it's just
here.
more old school. Maybe they just.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah, I've seen a few people vaping. Though.
Especially here in Frankfurt, I think more people do. But in like France and Italy, all cigarettes.
I always say Europe somewhat smells like cigarette smoke because so many people smoke cigarettes, which is crazy. You wouldn't think so, but they do.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Lastly, I think for culture shock things, I wanted to mention the bidet. I love bidets so much. I cannot say enough good things about bidets. Like, how nice is it, I'm sorry, to go to the bathroom and then have a bidet? That's like the nicest thing ever.
I don't know if this is TMI. We both tend to kind of shower after using the bathroom sometimes, but a bidet just makes so much more sense.
It's so much, or like if you've been wearing socks all day and your feet smell bad, you could just.
I have not thought about that.
It's genius.
I gotta start doing that.
Yeah, I want one in my house. I am advocating for people in the United States to get on the bidet train. Please.
And the heated towel racks in the bathroom.
Yeah, a lot of places have those too. I didn't know that was a thing till this.
Yeah. We noticed it in our first hostel, but where you hang your towels up in the bathroom, they're heated, so they dry way faster.
Which is so smart, honestly.
So nice. There's nothing worse than like you get out of the shower and your towel is still soaking wet. You just.
Also really nice for us since we have the reusable or microfiber towels. I guess all towels are reusable, but the ones that we bring with us, we don't want to pack them in our stuff if they're wet and they dry like super quick.
Yeah.
They're microfiber, so they dry super quick, and then you just put them on the heated towel rack and it's dry in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, so that's everything kind of that we want to talk about today about travel. Unless
do you have any tips you want to dish out? Anything you've learned so far? What's the biggest one you think you've come across?
The biggest tip, be prepared before you go. Do a lot of research, watch a lot of videos, make sure that you have the stuff that you need. Like we said, we'll put the stuff that we brought in the description, but water bottles, locks, towels, sheets, bring your stuff because if you're not prepared, you're going to be in a complete disaster. Also, research about the trains, research about the places, like just do a bunch of research would be my biggest tip.
Yeah, I think that's also part of the reason why we're starting this, to kind of provide that value to someone else, because I think seeing someone else's story who's done it really gives you some pretty invaluable insight. And so it kind of sucks when you get to somewhere new, you have your first full day and you spend half of it trying to figure out what to do. Definitely, maybe even just do it on the trains too. It's a convenient time to do it. But something I think I've been thinking about recently is when you're gonna decide where to go next, maybe look at the weather first. We had one full day in Paris, which is like one of the more, I think, anticipated spots. You got the Palais de Versailles, Eiffel Tower, the Louvre. That was legit. But it was raining all day.
Yeah, but I think also you can't really avoid that for 2 months.
I guess, 2 months maybe it's inevitable.
And maybe if you're going for like a week or two, but 2 months we're bound to run into some rain.
Yeah. No, I guess you're right.
And like today it's been the most beautiful sunny day. After like 4 days of rain, it's felt so good.
Yeah, and it's warmer.
Yeah.
Which is freaking cool.
Yeah, that's another thing. We're going during winter, and not that I don't recommend coming in winter. I've had the greatest time ever.
I kind of recommend it. I mean, I feel like there's way less tourists, so I feel like we're kind of getting to talk to...
there are way less tourists.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. And, okay, there are way less tourists, which I think is a huge, huge benefit. Also, never mind. Okay, continue on.
I
Lost my
think
train of thought.
Yeah, no, I think that just about covers everything I wanted to say about. I think that kind of sums up our first 3-week experience of backpacking. Maybe in a future one we'll go more in depth into each country. I think we could talk more about that.
I think at the end maybe we're gonna break down like Italy, then Switzerland, then France. If you guys want to hear that, just let us know down below. This is a new podcast, so we kind of want to make content that everybody wants to hear, everyone's interested in, and we are gonna go on the next topic. We're gonna be talking about finances and money, break down some of the side hustles that we've done. So if you guys are interested in that, subscribe down below.
Yeah, I think we really tend to dabble in a lot of things that I think if people get good at, they tend to improve their quality of life a lot more. So we want to really try to provide that value of the experience of what we learn and how to make it better if you decide to try any of this stuff. And so anything you guys want to hear, just let us know. And we'll
like the video, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching Roughin It.
All right.
Bye.
Peace.